be. Yeah, I think it's streaming now. Yeah, it is. There we go.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday night show here at the Longlands Club on Boro Fan TV. Joining me, James Hutchinson, this week is our friend Tony Guest. Welcome to the show again, Tony. You all right, mate?
Nice to see you. Yeah, good, thank you.
And you. We've reached the first international break of the season, so no Boro games to talk about this week. Therefore, we're going to look back at the Championship season as it stands so far after 6 games from a Boro perspective. As the season started as you've expected it would, what are your hopes for the season and the aims for the remainder of the season? Let us know, Boro fans. It's your show. And what about the rest of the division? Who's caught your eye so far? Anything surprised you? We're also going to look ahead to our clash with the Royals of Reading at the weekend at the Riverside and discuss both England's game at the weekend against Bulgaria and the international action involving some other Boro players for Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland this week. So plenty to get through, Tony, as always. Remember, everyone, it's your show. Share your thoughts and opinions with us. Get in touch with us. Join the debate with me and Tony here tonight. So, Phil Conway there. Blast from the past there, mate. You all right, mate?
Phil.
Nice to see you. Like we said, 6 games in, Tony. We've had a win, 3 draws and 2 defeats.
Yeah.
We're in 18th position so far. All the Boro games so far, there's been no margin of defeat or victory more than 1 goal. Does that suggest that we're not far from getting things right?
Yeah, and it also suggests that we're still not far away from Tony Pulis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been massive changes, and the way Woodgate wants to play, he hasn't got the personnel yet.
Yeah,
and it's been hard for the players that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? For so long, been under a regime where it's sideways, backwards, possession, you know what I mean?
It is a massive sea change from where we've been in the past, isn't it?
And where now is Woodgate's possession, he wants to play possession football, but he wants to get the ball moving forward and more quickly, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where Pulis just wanted to sit outside our box, soak up pressure and hit teams on the break, but we didn't have, the pace enough to threaten teams.
I think that's it. I think last season was very predictable all the way through, wasn't it? And I think this year it's going to be the exact opposite, isn't it? Josh Andrews, thanks for getting in touch with the show, Josh. Boro will sit between 10th and 15th this season. We can't expect to come out flying out the blocks. That's not going to happen. And the Championship is hard. We need to back the boys this season.
The fans, like you say, Boro fans aren't thick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Boro fans have been spoilt over the last, since Robson came,
20 years, mate.
They've been spoilt. From what I was brought up with the Boro fans have been spoilt. But this is a time now. This is like going back to Strachan's era, Mowbray's era, where the money's not there now, and I don't think the ambition in the club's there at the moment to take us up. Yeah. So it's just a period now where we're going to have to rough it and ride it out.
Yeah.
And fans are going to have to just, which is a hard thing to do, just lower their expectations for a while and give Woodgate the chances, for me, the chance he deserves.
Yeah, I think that there's little point saying that we're going to go down this route of we've got no money to spend, so then wanting rid of a manager who you've brought in who's got the policy now of, right, bring through the youth.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Work with what we've got.
Yeah.
You're limited in what you can do in the transfer market. You can't then go change your manager 6 months down the line. We've got to stick with this now, haven't we?
Yeah, we've all just seen what Holloway said in his piece for Sky, you know what I mean? And these blokes on Sky, they seem to be absolutely loving the Boro at the moment, and I think they all just want to interview Woodgate because of his enthusiasm and the way he wants to, he's took the bull by the horns, and he's gone full throttle at it, and they're loving it.
Well, I think it speaks volumes as well, Tony, that the fact last season we were always in and around the top 6, but I think after October, November time, we weren't on Sky a great deal for live games. Whereas already this season, yes, we're in the bottom half, but you've already had 2 games we've been on.
And 2 next month.
And there's 2 coming up again too. So, yes, we're not maybe challenging at the top, but I think we're entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Certainly that's been the case in the 2 live games so far. Craig McBurney saying things aren't as bad as Strachan at the moment. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that was over 18 months, but it did end up going a bit pear-shaped there, didn't it?
And you look at teams like Norwich last season, who were in a similar position to us. They'd only won 1. They were in a bad position. Us at Boro Fan TV went down to Carrow Road and we were interviewing their fans before the game, and they were just happy to avoid relegation.
They'd only won one match up to that point before we went there, yeah.
Like you say, we kick-started another team season.
We often do that, don't we?
And they just went on a mad run and they got promoted as champions.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some concerns raised in some quarters at the moment, bearing in mind the opposition the Boro have played so far in their opening 6 games. Some people are saying that the return of 6 points is quite disappointing. Do you agree with that, or do you think, it doesn't really matter who you play at this stage of the season?
You can look at it so many ways. The first game, Luton, you're playing a freshly promoted team, and they're at home. It's the first game of the season. It's live on Sky, and you were going to their grounds, a little tight ground.
Yeah.
Fair dues, we should have came away with 3 points, but to go there and come away with a point that night, that was a fantastic point.
I think they've been on an unbeaten run for about 3 or 4 months, haven't they, in the league, and they haven't lost at home for nearly a year or something.
And you had a similar situation with Sheffield the season before, but how we beat them 3-0, I'll never know. But it's a mad league.
It is.
Anything could happen. Anything could click for any one of them teams to go on a run and get promoted. It's mental.
Yeah, like you say, that's the nature of the Championship, isn't it? Every year it's a competitive league, and I don't think there's a great deal of difference between the teams in the division, is there?
Not really, no. But you can see the teams now that we're not one of them. You can see the teams
they've got a bit of quality.
That have got a bit of quality, and the ones that are really pushing to get out the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, like you say, you're going to touch on it later.
Yeah, we'll chat about that. So in terms of the Boro, though, what are you hoping to see in the next coming months or even over the season? What are you hoping to see from the Boro, Tony?
I think consistency is going to be really difficult because it's such a thin squad. And he has mentioned about injuries and fatigue with Britt and Ashley Fletcher. Like you say, you can't keep banging them against the door. So I've said in some of my little bits I've been doing that. Is it time to forgive and forget Gusted and take him off the naughty step because he's going to be used? And how must it feel as a player coming out with your shirt on, with a number on your back, and the crowd's booing you?
Yeah.
I think at this time, the club needs absolutely every player in that squad. And the fans need to get behind every player.
Well, touching on that on the squad, the size of the squad, I think first team at the minute, the squad's about 18, 19 players. I mean, does that concern you? Is that, one, strong enough in terms of numbers, and two, in terms of quality to get us through at least till January? Because that's what we've got.
It concerns me because when you get the likes of November and you've got that 4-month spell where you don't have no breaks and it's game after game after game, winter, travelling all over. If we don't get no one in January, that's when
you're asking for trouble then.
That's when you're asking for trouble. Sometimes a small squads,
because people feel like they're involved, don't they, every week? Yeah,
it might be good for team morale and as fans. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard. He's left himself, or the club's left Woodgate in a really difficult position squad wise. Then you read what Pulis has said this week about how they've trimmed. Was it a turnover of 32 players or something? He's been involved with. So that's how big the squad was. He's trimmed it right back. So now, like you say, that's the. And Woodgate's been out, and he seems to be handling it quite well at the moment. I think we just don't want to be involved in a relegation scrap. We don't want to be looking over our shoulders every week.
Yeah, because that's the big fear, and I think it's easy for some people to say, "Oh, well, Boro won't go down," but there's been clubs bigger than us that have gone down out the Championship before, and I think we are playing a dangerous game if we're thinking a squad of 18, 19 is going to get us through the full season. Because, like you say, the nature of the league, the fixtures, relentless fixtures. Suspensions, injuries, that's what's going to be nowhere near big enough.
It shows you what the Brentford game just shows you exactly what the league's all about. You go out and absolutely batter a team. The worst defence that's ever been at the Riverside for me. Brentford's defence at first half, but they went away with a clean sheet. They beat us 1-0. That's you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what it's like, isn't it? I mean, Craig McBurney there again has said, I feel as though we'll have a better second half of the season than the first, and I think that's probably a fair point because the players, like you said earlier, are going to need time to bed into this new system. But like you said, the hope is that we're not in trouble down at the bottom of the table, which then adds more pressure. Hopefully, if we're kicking about mid-table.
The pluses at Bristol where Dick Steele had a decent game, or Dyke Steele, or Dickie Steele. He had a massive improvement on his first game at Blackburn.
I think he certainly contributed a lot going forward. Both him and Bolo look impressive going forward.
Like you say, them two full backs are looking nailed on at the moment, but I'd still like to see Coulson come back in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Marvin Johnson's been absolutely fantastic since he come back. He was fantastic before he went. He should never have went on loan to Sheffield for me. The two players, Marvin Johnson and Paddy McNair, who never got a kick for Pulis, have been two of our best players. And you know, like you say, the transformation in Britt since he's been told he's the main man and he hasn't got Pulis.
Yeah.
You know,
on his case and calling him out every time he misses an opportunity. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, in terms of the fans again, though, Tony, do you think there's a realisation and an expectation or an acceptance that the club had to change its financial model and the way it was going to go down? Or do you think some people are struggling with that?
On social media, I still think there's a lot of fans struggling with where the club's at the moment.
Yeah.
Still reading about fans, Gibson, Ewan Woodgate, you know, sling it. And I think there's a massive gulf. There's a massive gulf in between Woodgate's followers and the ones who, you know, who still think we've got money and cash to burn, and Gibson's not the saviour anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I've said before on this show, again,
we've both said it, James, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, Woodgate wouldn't have been my choice as manager, but he's got the job now, and you have to support him and back him, and there is no money there.
Under the current climate, we've both sat here, we've both doubted Gibson's judgment, we've both doubted his commitment to the club, but under the current climate, the way football's going, we want to be grateful for the blessings that we've got a club. You know what I mean? That we have a club.
Yeah.
We've got a local chairman. I seen a quote the other day, someone put something, the weekend of the Bristol game. Was there any other clubs in the country that had a club that was owned by
somebody local in the area,
run by, managed by somebody local, and captained by somebody local? Yeah. You know, so...
And I mean, that doesn't guarantee you success, and I get that. And some people would say, I don't care where your manager's from, I want a successful team. But I think we've got to safeguard the future of the club now, don't we? Because, as we said before we came on air tonight, having seen the predicament that Bury and Bolton have been in, I think it's a matter of time before a club that's in the Championship at the minute are going to go the same way.
Some big club's going to go banging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people's eyes might get opened a bit more. Bury should never have been allowed to go to the wall. Bolton, definitely. But people expect big teams to bail these clubs out. What's the point?
Yeah.
Because then it'll only just...
Everyone will expect it then, won't they? Yeah.
But Borough-wise, thin squad, really thin. And where it's going to go this season, it could be win one, lose one, win one, lose one, or win two, lose four. I think more and more people are coming around to, do you know what? Let's just enjoy this season for what it's going to be. I don't think we're going to be challenging for promotion, but at the end of the day, we were supposedly challenging for promotion the last 2 seasons. Were they enjoyable? No,
they weren't.
No, like you say, at the moment, you can sit back in your chair or stand up, and it is more relaxing going to games at the moment. You're not getting oh God. Yeah. You know, we can't afford to lose. We can't. Not yet.
Yeah, and like you say, that danger might come if you're down near the bottom three.
If the 10, 15 games and we're stuck down in the bottom 3, 4, then obviously you start going to the match with a bit of stress in you.
So that's a fair point. So how would you see it panning out this season, Tony? Where do you think, just to guess, I mean, only after 6 games, where do you think we will finish this season?
See, on the plus side, Britt scoring.
Yeah.
Fletcher's... You look at the players who's doing well. Fletcher, Britt, McNair, Johnson, they're all forward-thinking players. Lewis Wing's gone off the boil a little bit. But,
there's somewhere that he's carrying injuries and stuff like that.
That could be, you know, getting caught. You know, is he a defensive midfielder? Is he an attacking midfielder? I think going forward, we're going to see goals this season, but the defence, our defending,
it's worrying. It's
from the first minute against Bristol City.
Yeah. Well, again, even the Luton game, the first game of the season, every time they attacked, I think if that game had gone on another 5 minutes, we'd have lost that game.
Yeah. We're so vulnerable at the back. And Shotton's had his knockers, but, you know, he's played, 2 seasons at right full-back.
Yeah.
And now he's one of our centre halves. And
I think that's the other thing, isn't it? With the change of formation and the way we played, those defenders, for all they have certain limitations, they had more protection in front of them how many years? Even go back to Karanka, they've had all that.
Yeah.
That's now gone more or less, hasn't it? Now we're very open, which is great going forward, but defensively
and like you say, Woodgate's a defender, and he wasn't happy after the Bristol game about the players marking space and not marking shit. So Hopefully he can sort it out, but for some reason,
like you say, it's going to be unpredictable this year.
So
it?
My prediction where we're going to finish, God,
somewhere between 1st and 24th, isn't it?
Yes, I think we'll be more towards the, below middle, below halfway.
Yeah,
because
I think that's a fair point.
I think we're just, like you say, it's a transition period.
Yeah.
And I think we're just making the numbers up this season for the championship, and who knows what's around the corner with Gibson,
And again, like we mentioned Norwich earlier, I think the year before they went up, they finished about 14th, and were very up and down that season. Then last year they stormed away with the championship, and that's just how it is. And spending money, as we know, doesn't guarantee you success in the championship, does it? So we'll wait and see. In terms of other clubs, who's impressed you so far, Tony?
Well, what I've seen, I watched Fulham over the plane, and they had a hell of a lot of possession, and they looked. The way they were knocking the ball about was really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got Mitrovic up front, and they're a threat. And they've found another Sessignon from somewhere.
Yeah. Just digging
Is it
him
his
out.
twin brother?
It's his brother, yeah. His younger brother, yeah.
And but they didn't seem to do much with the possession. I can't remember who I watched them against.
Was it Huddersfield? Did they play Huddersfield?
Did it finish 1-1? I think they took an early lead, and they were away from home, and they looked impressive. Leeds once again look absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
But it's if, like you say, they got beat off home at Swansea. It's how much bottle they've got to sustain it.
And that's it. I think they've got an ideal opportunity of going up this year. They should go up this season. But like you say, has last season scarred them when they really the second place was there for the taking for them last year, and
but then Huddersfield have struggled. But I think they've just got one of the best managers in football.
Interesting appointment, that, isn't it, Danny Campbell?
Yeah, I'm surprised he's left.
Yeah, because he was linked with Sheffield Wednesday, and our friend Gary Monk got the job there. He'll be back in the Riverside in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, like you say, Fulham, Leeds, West Brom, they're already in the top 6, and I think they're going to be there for the season.
Bristol City look really good against us. You know what I mean? There is some good football in sides, but it's wide open, James.
Yeah, I mean, your top 2, you'd never have seen that for me. Charlton and Swansea is your top 2.
Charlton, Swansea, like you say, we haven't mentioned Swansea.
Yeah.
They've cut the cloth, but they're sat top of the league at the moment. You know what I mean? Charlton, the Charlton going to be another Sheffield United where they're just going to go through the division.
Could do. And I mean, they lost a few players, and Boyer nearly left in the summer, and yet he stayed on. They haven't got a great big budget, but there they are. 14
Have they got all their
problems
games sorted out? Are they still throwing things on the pitch and that?
I think the fans are still unhappy with the owner, but it just seems to have settled down. I think obviously because they've been a bit more successful.
Because Mowbray went into Blackburn and calmed all that down with the Eastern, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So like you said, you've mentioned Fulham there. Huddersfield came down in the Championship, and Cardiff. I mean, they've had very different starts to the season. Cardiff, Huddersfield. And
I think teams like Cardiff under Warnock. I think you're going to football at the moment. I think you're going to see, and no matter what he says in the press, I don't think you're going to see Tony Pulis in a high-profile job in the top 2 divisions anymore.
Probably not now. I
don't think you're going to see Sam Allardyce. I know Warnock's in his 70s, but
do you think this will be like his last job now?
That type of football now, it's done.
Well, I think you see it through all levels. You're seeing it in international games and certainly at club level. How many teams are playing straight out from the back?
Yeah.
And yes, you get burnt at times. Bulgaria did against England at the weekend. But you've seen it across football now at all levels. Teams are trying to play out. And that's the way it's going, isn't it?
And like, I know free kicks, corners, set dead balls are massive in any game, but when that's your main threat, that's your main attacking threat, and you've got no else to offer, which we found last season, you're going nowhere. You know, once teams fathom out what you're doing, you're not going to score goals, and you're not going to progress, which we found. Saying that, Flint's already scored for Cardiff.
Well, he's got his one. He's got his one for the season. I mean, they're shipping goals in though, aren't they? For Neil Warnock's side, they have been letting a few
Jordan
in.
Hugo's banging them in for fun.
Yeah. Now, again, do you know what is it? He's getting used correctly there. He's playing with other forward players instead of trying to carry the load on his own.
Like you say, he was used as a battering ram. You know what I mean? The miles that lad used to put in for us.
It's a thankless task, wasn't it, really? Yeah. But I mean, getting it back to the Boro then, Tony. In terms of the new signings, got Mark Bowler, Anthony Dyke-Steele, Marcus Brown. What have you made of their contributions so far?
Bowler has grown into it. You know, he's come in because Coulson got injured. If Coulson hadn't been injured, I don't think we'd have seen that much of Bowler. But he's the standout one up. And now, obviously, he's had the most game time.
Yeah.
Brown, Mrs. Brown's boy. In flashes, you get bits of, bit of trickery, but he looks way off the pace at the moment for me. Now, is he another southern softie who's struggling to settle in the northeast? You know, is he having?
Hasn't even got cold yet, mate.
No, so he just seems a bit off at the moment. And if by all reports the Dijksteel, you've got to give him time and give him a chance.
I think that's with the three of them. I think you've got to do that. I mean, it's only 6 games in, and it is, no matter what people say, it's still a step up coming from League One to the Championship.
And still only young lads, James.
Yeah. As much as the players that have been here for years are getting used to things, it'll be the same for the three of them. They've all moved up to the area. I think they're all from down south, so it'll take some acclimatising, getting up here, getting used to how things are, playing at a new club, and it's going to be
there's some good
all.
pros still left at the club, no matter what we think of them while they're playing. There's some good pros there who, like you say, who'll help them, show them around the area. You got Clayton and Friend there, who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were great servants to the club at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course they have. Yeah, they've done a good job for us. I mean,
yeah.
Phil Conway, they're saying, believe me, when Woodgate gets Tav and Brown to find their feet and click, I think we'll destroy teams. With Tav, I think he's been incredibly kind, and I think he's going to be awesome for us. That's maybe a surprise for some people. He's not been involved.
I know,
much more.
He seemed to be much further on than the likes of Lewis, Wing and Fletcher.
Yeah,
under Pulis.
Yeah,
and he's hardly been seen this season.
Why do you think that might be?
Well, it might go back to this January with the problems with Braithwaite and Tav. When the dressing room was a bit of unrest in the dressing room, Tav was involved in that, I believe. So whether, Woodgate is being cruel to be kind, I don't know. But
so he's a club where you wouldn't want to see him go.
No.
He's definitely a talent, but obviously we're not privy to everything that's going on there day to day. And I think with the squad being as thin as it is, I think if Jonathan Woodgate really thought that Tavernier would have a big influence on the team, he'd be in there already, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
You're on about that there, the thin squad. What shocked me, the Bristol game, was you built up to the Bristol game, the players had all week off, there was no midweek game. Woodgate done his press conference, everyone was fit. The only person who wasn't fit was Friend. Friend and Coulson were the only 2 injury worries. So Thursday will have just been a warm down day, light training.
Yeah.
They travel to Bristol Friday. Saturday you get the team and there's no Howson and no Ayala.
Yeah. And apparently they both got injured in training.
Now, so the cynic in me saying you've got 2 senior professionals getting injured on the same day. You know what I mean? Has there been a bit of an argy-bargy within the squad or a bit of...
I must admit, I had a little bit of a worry that maybe was one of them on the way out, because I know not all transfer women going abroad. More so Ayala. I was thinking Ayala on his way up. I'm like, we surely can't afford to cut our squad any further back.
For 2 senior pros to get injured on a Thursday when manager's already reported he's got a full 6. It'd be
interesting to see what the squad is this weekend, won't it? And what the starting lineup is against Reading, and we'll talk about that game in a minute.
But
so
they weren't missed.
No, well,
they've been just as bad at the back with that,
But arguably, and I know 1 or 2 people have commented on this, that was probably our best performance of the season. Second half, I was really impressed with Bristol City.
I was buzzing with the performance against Bristol City.
Yeah, it certainly give you a bit more belief about, yes, this is the direction we're going. Yeah. I'm happy to go around this down this path with them.
It was a better game than the Luton game, because obviously that was the adrenaline first game of the season. But
much better opposition as well.
I don't, like you say on social media, on here, I don't think anyone give Boro a cat and else chance.
No. Well, I'll be honest. I thought if we got a point from there, I'd have been delighted. Yet came so close to winning it, and like you say, against really good opposition, a club that's going to be challenging. So if you can go to Bristol City,
and they've spent some money as well, haven't they?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Reading as well. Yeah. Some clubs are absolutely throwing the cash about. They've been nowhere near the Premier League for years, so I don't know where it's come from and who's selling who's ground to who and whatever.
I know,
There's money flying about somewhere at some clubs in the Championship. Anyway, international stuff, Tony. Tonight, big one for Northern Ireland. They take on Germany in a Euro qualifier.
Yeah.
Saville played for 60 minutes in a friendly on Thursday against Luxembourg. Paddy McNair was an unused sub, but I think Paddy will probably play tonight against the Germans. But I mean, for Northern Ireland, size of their country and what they can choose from in terms of the players, it's an amazing achievement that they're challenging Germany and
and they're only beating Luxembourg 1-0.
Yeah. Well, the top of the group.
The top of the group. But I mean, they beat Luxembourg 1-0 at home.
Some goal and all. Did you see it? The own goal?
Yeah. So, massive, like you say, O'Neill, the manager, he's been sorted. by clubs, but he's
I'm surprised he's still there, Tony.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm waiting for him to get maybe a championship club or something like that. Or
he's doing a fantastic job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like you say, you speak to Northern Ireland fans, and every game they seem to play, it's Saville and McNair who are the best two players.
Yeah.
Saville, we need to see more of it in a Boro shirt then, because last season when he came in, he was a boo boy, and then all of a sudden he went on a run of form and he started scoring goals.
Yeah.
Then he started to tail off again towards the end of the season. So I'd like to see, after what I was seeing him in a Millwall shirt, I just want him to see him produce that in a Boro shirt.
And that's it. You would hope now in the system we play that maybe Jonathan Woodgate can find a place for him to play in that sort of role and be a bit more of an attacking threat.
Yeah.
Because like I say, he was one of a number of people who was used all over the place last year. He probably didn't know whether he was coming on board.
Yeah. But like you say, Germany, Ireland tonight.
I tell you what,
like you say,
he'll be rocking that place, won't it? At Windsor Park.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they got a result against him, wouldn't it?
Like you said, get beat 4-2 off the Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch are just starting to come back. I know that, but I can see Ireland, getting a point tonight, especially with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
that would be a great result if they did, and I hope they do. And then on to Ireland, you've got Darren Randolph, who played against Switzerland the other night. They've got a useful draw against them. It just reminds me so much of Tony Pulis when you watch Mick McCarthy teams and how they set up. And
that's what's surprising me. Mick McCarthy is back in international football, and I think they're on a downward spiral now, the Republic. It's all off and puff, isn't it? The fight and the desire's there, but these teams now...
lacking in quality, aren't they?
These teams, even Bulgaria, they were very limited in quality, but every now and again they put 3 or 4 passes together and behind your defence. Yeah. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah, well, they opened up England a few times Saturday. In terms of Republic of Ireland, just before we move on from there, there's a fair chance that they could qualify for the Euros next summer. Do you think that might play on Darren Randolph's mind, that maybe come January he might think, do you know what, I might need to move from Boro if they're struggling in the Championship or for below halfway, and he might think, I need to be playing for a higher profile club ahead of a major championship?
Talking to fans and people on, like you say, social media now, people feel that Darren Randolph isn't as up for this season as he was for last. His performances have dipped a bit, especially his distribution, which was never good.
Yeah, it'd be hard for him to reach the levels he was at last year, because last year he was absolutely outstanding.
But he's still pulling off.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's, like you say, there's these goalkeepers get on the merry-go-round, you know what I mean? Burnley end up with 3 England goalkeepers. So,
well, Burnley just seem to be linked with everyone from our club at the moment, don't they? Centre half.
I just try to take no notice of what's coming out. Darren Wood. Let's keep calling him Darren Wood. Nathan,
hey, that's a blast from the past, that, mate.
Nathan Wood.
Yeah.
9 million to Burnley, or Spurs are interested in him. And
he needs to just learn the game, doesn't he, first of all, and get a few years under his belt.
There's so many of these players who leave at such a young age. You never either or see him again, you know what I mean, until they're playing for Spennymoor or Darlow.
Well, Boro Richie, he's maybe got the solution to that. He said, you can't be selling Wood. He's a football manager wonder kid. He's just won the Champions League with him as captain.
Right, yeah.
Well, but overall, like you say, I don't want to see Nathan Wood move on yet. He's got to develop as a player. And
like you say, our squad's thin as ice at the moment.
And before we move off the international scene, obviously we want to talk about England, topping the qualifying group. Swept aside Bulgaria 4-0 at the weekend. I think it's going to be a tougher challenge tomorrow night against Kosovo, isn't it? I mean, they haven't lost for 15 games. But I think it's more or less a formality that England will qualify for the championships. That's when the problems start, when they get there, because now we've got to go beyond that next stage when they get to a major tournament.
Like we got that Euro, what was it we were in at the summer? What was that called?
The Nations League.
Nations League.
Yeah.
Well, we had a chance there winning it, which surprised me with Southgate, because there's so many good young players coming through and he keeps talking about them and putting in the squad. But that Nations League, we went with tried and trusted with Delph, and the midfield was so immobile.
You had,
we've got all this talent coming through. We keep getting told, and it is the best what we've had for a long time. But he's got the opportunity now. We're going to qualify.
Well,
we were winning 3-0, and it still took his time to get. And I'm starting to worry, is Southgate going a bit in his shell, where he's being open and expansive, or give players a chance.
You want him to keep being brave in his selection.
Yeah. Is he going back over a bit like old England managers?
Yeah.
But international football for me, obviously, it was on the same time as the cricket on Saturday, so it was flicked.
I don't want to talk about the cricket, mate.
So I was flicking in between cricket and England, and went the first 2 minutes, and you see your team coming to Wembley and setting up the way they'd set up.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't watch a game of attack and defence. There's too many games, international games.
I definitely think the qualifiers, it's sort of like, I'll watch it, but the real stuff doesn't begin until next summer, does it, for England?
Obviously, it's nice to see England doing well.
Yeah.
Massive England fans.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I did here on the radio, and it does my head in. 2 ex-professionals on about, would you rather see Chelsea finish? Would you like to see England win a major tournament, or Chelsea finish in the top 4?
Well, you don't win anything for finishing the top 4, do you?
I'm a Chelsea fan. I'd rather Chelsea finish in the top. And that does my head in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're football fans.
Yeah.
We've all been brought up on support your hometown club in England or Scotland, Ireland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All this football snobbery at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we are Boro fans first and foremost, but I think you realise how special things are with your national team when you get to major tournaments, and you'll know from the World Cup 2 years ago, the atmosphere around the country, those 3-4 weeks when things were progressing as they were, and you really genuinely thought there was a chance we were going to do something.
The whole place is buzzing for 3 or 4 weeks. Not just Teesside, every county, every town in this country.
Yeah, you just go on social media, you just see everything. People falling through bus stop shelters, everything. It's like amazing, isn't it? But
unbelievable.
Hopefully that'll all come around again next summer as well.
Unbelievable time.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get back on the domestic front. Boro take on Reading at the weekend, Tony. We beat them 2-1 in our last home game of last season. They currently sit 2 places above us in the table and are a point ahead. But it's really important we extend our 3-game unbeaten run, isn't it? We've got to try and get on a little bit of a run now, haven't we?
For Woodgate's sake,
Yeah.
I think Woodgate would be happy with a draw, like he was at Bristol, just to see.
Do you think he would take a draw on Saturday?
Yeah, because I think he's got this feeling now. He said to the guys on Sky, I'm on too much unbeaten run now. So he said that's the positives. As fans, we want 3 points on Saturday. Does it matter how we get them? No, not at the moment, but it'd be nice to see a bit of what we've seen against Bristol City, even if we got 20 minutes of it. You know what I mean?
Because I think the 2 home games before that, Wigan and Millwall, we got 4 points from those 2 games, but I think in both first halves, I thought we were a bit sluggish.
Yeah,
both of those games, like the away team with a better side. Yeah. And then it was after the break we came into
that was a lot like Pulis, because we did seem to sit too deep.
Yeah.
But like you say, the system he plays, our centre halves need to get up another 10, 20 yards. They need to be, when we've got possession or when we're pressing, your centre halves have to be on the halfway line. But we haven't got the pace.
No.
If the ball goes over the top, for these lads to get back.
And you think maybe with Dale Fry coming in now, he's a footballing centre half, and he might push us a little bit further.
Yeah, because then we're not bypassing the midfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where some teams, like you say, you can only compare with what you see Man City and Liverpool play the high pressing game. Sometimes it's just a matter of when teams are pressing them is bypassing the press, just lumping it over, and then winning second ball in midfield, where we haven't got the legs to be doing that yet. Yeah. So I hope it goes right. I hope everything he's wanting and trying for, he gets half an hour of it on Saturday.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we get something good out of it.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, Reading, I mean, they've invested some money over the summer.
No, I didn't know that, James.
Well, they bought Lucas Zhao in from Sheffield Wednesday. They spent £8 million on a Romanian under-21 international, George.
They've got that George who scored last night.
Yeah.
Had you passed it to Puskás?
Puskás, who played for Hungary, about 60 years ago. But he's played for Romania. Well, they spent £8 million on him from Inter Milan.
And he's been scoring goals.
He scored a hat-trick against Cardiff when they beat them. They got Ovi Ajaria, who was at Rangers last year on loan from Liverpool. They've signed him from Liverpool. So they've spent a bit of money.
And they've got a decent... Where was their manager from again?
He's Portuguese, isn't he? Gomez. So
he came in late last season.
Yeah, he did. Kept them up. But they've invested a bit of money. So it's going to be a challenge at the weekend. I mean, they've beaten Huddersfield and Cardiff. They had an away draw at West Brom, which is no mean feat. It's going to be a tough game.
They're a club with similar ambitions, similar size to us, similar ambitions, you know what I mean? So...
But that won't sit well with some people, that will it? Because
No.
some people say, what, we're similar to Reading. No, we should be beating them.
No,
It's
like
just not the case, is it?
You go to their stadium and it's on a par with ours, you know what I mean? They've got a great setup down there. And like you say, it was only a couple of, was it last season or the season before, they had Jaap Stam as manager. They'd just been relegated.
Yeah.
You know, they'd had a good run in the Premiership, so, you know, they're them. But like you say, where's this money come from? They might have found a bit of extra cash to have what they feel like a push for promotion or top 6.
There's so many teams that feel like they're in a chance of doing that in the Championship.
Definitely this season, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you get that right manager and the owners believe in what you're telling them, you know, okay, we'll take a punt on him.
Yeah. Good point. So, give us a prediction for Saturday then, Tony.
I hate this bit because I'm going to go 3-1, Boro.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm going to go 3-1, Boro, because, like you say, Brit's on fire, Fletcher's playing well. Still room for improvement with Fletcher, but he's, you know, he's a lot better this season than what he has been.
Yeah. I think he's a confidence player, and I think the fact as well that he knows he's going to be getting selected.
Yeah.
He's playing with him, he's building up a decent relationship with Assombalonga.
Yeah.
And at times, yes, it can be frustrating, but I think that's just the nature of how he is as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, he does some things in a game and you think that's absolutely fantastic. That's like amazing.
Brit, that goal he scored against Bristol. He can score one-on-ones.
It was an amazing finish. Yeah, it was an amazing finish. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to go with Phil Conway. I've got 2-1 for the Boro as well, and I think it'd be a really welcome 3 points because, like you say, any fixture's tough in the Championship. But I think you just need to keep moving, looking up rather than looking behind. Like you say, the table, don't you?
Like you say, 6 points from 6 games. You know, point a game at the end of the season is not going to be good enough. You're going to get relegated.
You probably would go down with 46 points. Yeah.
You know, we've got to start winning our home games.
That's it. Yeah, I mean,
maybe Woodgate is a bit naive. If we are winning 1-0, let's tighten it up a bit. Let's not go for 2-0. Let's get some points on the board, and then, like you say.
And in fairness, I think he did sort of do that in the Wigan game when we went 1-0 up. He then changed the formation for the last 20 minutes or so.
What impressed me with the Wigan game was when we changed the formation to go either 5 at the back or 5 in the midfield. We've seen Lewis Wing getting on the ball more, and we looked more solid.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to.
They didn't offer much of a threat, did they, towards the end of the game?
Do you know what I mean? And I thought we looked a million times better.
Yeah.
And I've said it for a while. You know, do you want to go back to 5 at the back or 5 in the midfield, however you want to call it? Because I think the way Woodgate's playing it might help him at the moment.
Yeah. And I actually think, and I agree with you, that I think he's flexible enough that he will change things around. I don't think he'll say, I'm stuck with this one way of playing and that's what we're going to do. I think he will change things around over the course of the season. And
he's a breath of fresh air at the end of the day.
I'm more optimistic now, certainly after that Bristol City game. I'm a lot more optimistic now about where the club's heading after that game. I think, do you know what? This is where we're going to go. And I think this season, it's a season of transition, but as long as you can see progress being made, you'll accept that and you'll go along with it, won't you?
Well, you didn't... You know, you want to see progress then after 3 games, and you know it was still poor, and you're thinking not much progress there, would you? You know what I mean? Then after the Bristol game, it just lifts you again as a fan to think, all right, I believe you.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Tony, I'm afraid we're out of time for this
already.
Week. Yeah, that's it. We've done our stint again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on the show, pal. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks to everybody who's been watching and contributing to the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Just a heads up, next week. Next Monday is the 15th anniversary of Boro's first game in Europe, and we played Bannock Ostrava at the Riverside.
I've just been reading about it.
So next week we're going to have a little bit of a chat about and a reminisce about the European seasons, 2 European seasons. So any views from any of your visits abroad to watching the Boro, putting fairy liquid into fountains in Villarreal and stuff like that, get in touch with us next week. We're going to talk about that as well as the Reading game and looking ahead to the Cardiff game. Special days they were in Europe, so hopefully we'll get lots of chat from you all about that next week, and hopefully we'll be celebrating 3 points against Reading. Don't forget to check out our pre-match previews over the course of the week and other Boro-related stuff on Boro Fan TV, and to subscribe and like us on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. From me, James Hutchinson, from all the team here at the Longlands and Guesty, good night everybody, and up the Boro.
Up the Boro.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.